let's do it. Wow, that's so convenient. So, I guess we just need to kind of talk it out. What we're doing here. There's just a bunch of different scripts and techniques and wrappers and resources that we use all the time when we're working with Effection. So things like a task buffer, things like WebSocket, things like an event source, things like a React hooks, and we haven't like locked into one, like we haven't locked in like this is the best way to do it, but it's like an 85% solution. But the thing is, people come into Slack and they want 85% solutions, or 85% solutions are perfect because it can get them started, and if they want to, they can eject at some point. So what I'm wondering is like, so we had talked about making this Contrib library, this Contrib repository for housing all of those, what previously were in gists and little snippets that we were posting in Discord. So the question is, do we have them, is it one package? Should we make it one like NPM package with just multiple entry points, or do we make it a separate repo with a bunch of different packages? What's the, as my son would say, what's the W strat?
W strat.
The winning strategy.
Is that what the kids say these days?
Yeah, that's something with the kids say. What's the Dove strat?
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, it's definitely. It seems really convenient. Ideally, we would have a separate. Almost like I think the simplest thing to do would be a single file per contrib, and it includes like documentation and tests in that single file.
Right.
Or maybe that's too far.
That's kind of cool, but
like nice and simple, yeah.
Yeah.
When you say docs and tests, you mean like JS doc directly in it, kind of thing?
Yeah. GS doc. I mean, if that's enough, then it can be GS doc. I mean, if that's the easiest way fast forward, then yeah. But yeah, have everything there, and then we would essentially. I mean, ideally, I think it wouldn't be a separate package for each. I mean, it wouldn't be one package. It'd be a separate package for each, I would imagine.
Right. So it would be like.
I mean, if you got a separate file for each, you should be able to just do like exports star basically, and you can do import from @effection/contrib/thing1.
Yeah, so like it would be like import, let's use the one that's fresh on my mind is the task buffer. Use task buffer from Effection Contrib / task buffer.
Probably, yeah.
Like that?
I think so, yeah. Because then that's got like built-in tree shaking already. The problem with the ESM is the if everything is going through like a barrel file, then it has trouble tree shaking it. So like if you import something from like esm.sh, if you import from Effection Contrib, and it's an index that whatever,
right,
that ends up having to download everything to determine how to, unless you specifically say no side effects, then it can, do a little bit less work there. But
so if we had like a contrib, for example, directory, and then we had like, this is just a theoretical package.json here, we'd have and then it would be like exports task buffer like this, and then
I don't even know that you need to do that. I think you could do import and
Yeah.
require and do a slash and like a dist/star.
Dist/star. So
Yeah,
like
something like
export
that.
star like this.
What is the J what is this thing called, GSRR? The Dino GSR
JSR.
thing?
Yeah.
How does that work? Is that just a separate registry that you have to use, or what?
Yeah, it's a separate registry. So like
You just configure
yeah,
the registry to use
yeah. So like
in Node.
I don't know if you can. Yeah, I think you can use it in Node.
How do you use it in Node? I wonder if because that's already takes care of documentation and stuff. Like, I kind of wonder if we even, let's see. Documents. npx GSR add blah blah blah. So, npx GSR add.
Yeah, so like
any of the npx, and
it's just doing the registry. So like in the log file, by adding it through that one, it adds it to the log file. It instead of pointing to npm, it points to GSR.
would that be the path of least resistance? I mean, it seems like, because basically the command that you would use npx GSR add Luca for such cases, and it would automatically figure out which project, which distribution, which package manager you're using, and then add it appropriately. And I guess configure your registry, and then you don't even need to. And then I think it will actually generate documentation page for you. Let's see. We haven't published Effection to GSR yet.
No,
right?
we haven't. The problem that we're going to probably start publishing Effection in version 4. The thing is, you have to. All of the dependencies on JSR have to be on JSR. So this is what that one guy was getting pretty salty about, is JSR doesn't let you use URL dependencies. You can only point to, it'll support npm and it'll support JSR, and it'll support one other registry, but it won't support HTTP. So right now we have to, like, the only dependencies that Effection has is continuation. So we would have to get continuation working on JSR first, and then we could do publish v3 to JSR. So, I mean, this might be the path of least resistance, but I mean, if we publish to npm, we should, like, it'll publish the README, right?
Yeah, but we would need to, so how are we publishing a single package that has everything in it?
I was thinking of publishing a single package that has everything in it, that has a separate set of exports, so that, like, basically would have, in, like, this package right here has this export, so that you can get your tree shaking.
It's simpler from packaging and distribution perspective, and I guess it's simple from. It's fairly simple. I mean, I guess probably that's an easy way to get started.
Just
right?
use JSR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have it on npm though. It's gonna look weird to have it as v4 and JSR and.
I think Effection needs to be on npm, and npm certainly first, and JSR, and
yeah.
And I'd like to have it on Dino land, on the via HTTP.
Is
We can have.
We can have-
Sorry, go ahead.
I would say is JSR's replacing Dinoland?
No.
I feel like it's not a okay. It seems somewhat competing, somewhat not, and I hadn't actually read anything that was clear.
Yeah.
I guess it's unifying, right? Because right now Dino is separate by itself, but then you can't use the fact that you can't use GSR, you can't use HTTP with GSR. I mean, I'm guessing that's temporary, right?
No? I don't know. I think it was intentional that they don't support it. But what it does is it makes it very easy to use JSR from npm or from Node. Right, using HTTP from Node is a no-go. So publishing stuff to Dinoland, if like a package is on Dinoland, like we have to explicitly make a dual publish to Dinoland and to npm. Whereas I'm guessing if we could do Dinoland and JSR, we wouldn't have to do npm. Although I think we're going to end up doing all three, but it's not even that hard. But I would say the path of least resistance certainly is just JSR because you can use it from npm.
And I think that's enough because what we want is, and in the future we can change, right? If there's demand, like people really want to have a separate. Like what we could do is we could go down the route that like Lodash went, where they have a separate package for each, which is something that we can do.
They walked that back though.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, that's not maintained anymore because it was a royal pain in the ass to maintain.
Yeah, I think, especially since basically we're kind of going to have a restriction that is like basically it's one file.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think we stick with the. I mean, this is enough. Like, this is going to be convenient enough, right? Just being able to use it. And so I think the key is that we can use npx. We can use GSR through npx, so you don't even need to install. Like if you have a node project, you don't even need to install GSR. You just use npx to use GSR to install the dependency. It just seems like really like a really fast kind of least resistance.
Right.
We'll just How's that work for dependencies though?
I'm pretty sure it resolves dependencies. I mean, the other thing it does though, it is also.
like StarFX, if they put it in their dependency array, does whatever know how to resolve that.
I mean, that's why it creates the .npmrc. So it isn't completely transparent, right? Because it's going to be like this package is from JSR or this one's from npm.
But I don't know if we want. I guess the question is, do we really want to have big projects like StarFX depending on our contribs? Is that a design?
I guess I'm kind of smushing together my Effection and Effection Contrib thoughts.
Yeah. I think this is just a library of helpful snippets that theoretically you could just copy and paste if you wanted to.
Yeah. You should, and if you have a project that has dependencies where this kind of stuff matters, just copy and paste it. That's it. Just change the import and that's it. And then if we find that that's not working for us anymore for whatever reason, we can always change it.
Yeah.
Right. But I think for now it's just so that we have a place to keep these things.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem making, adding publishing to npm should be pretty straightforward. So, okay. So
what do we do with versioning?
Like Well, if you set it up for Effection, and I mean, we've almost already set it up for interactors.
Mhm.
Like once we get the setup that we want, it's gonna be theory copy and paste.
Yeah. What was your question, Taras?
What are we going to do for versioning?
So I was thinking that we would just, every new file is a minor. Like we can, we could also, we can basically use major versions a lot. So it's like Effection Contrib. If we're breaking something, like a major version change in one of the scripts, like that's a major version change for Effection Contrib. But these
So every major change becomes every major change for Contrib.
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, a major change is a major change. So it wouldn't be inconceivable that we would have like Effection Contrib version 100 or something like that. I mean, ideally, these things wouldn't change that much. And I'm thinking that eventually a lot of these, like the integrations with WebSocket and Worker and other things, will make it actually into Effection proper. So, because if it's a standard and all the runtimes support it, then it should just be an Effection. So,
yeah.
So, I kind of see like if you're getting down and you're running into like a bunch of different Semver things where for Effection Contrib, then maybe it's time to hit the eject button.
Yeah, eject button, and the other thing is if you need an old version of something, if you really want to save that version, yeah, you can just copy and paste that file. Right, the one that you want to say a specific version.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other nice thing about the other kind of nice side effect of having this major bumps is that it's going to create incentive for us to give good code reviews on these things.
Right.
Which is I think is going to be good for, it's going to be kind of a good force function for teaching people.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And like I said, if we find we're iterating, it's good code reviews, and if we're iterating a lot on it, then it's like, hey, maybe we need to take this and put it in Effection. And it shouldn't be in Contrib at all.
Right.
And then every once in a while, once we get a bunch of like graduates from Contrib, then we have a new major version, and we could remove them all. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Contrib version getting really high.
I think that's okay. I think there are other projects that have like 3,000 version number. Like what is how is? Oh no, I think types, Microsoft Types. That repository is they're publishing each type package separately, right? That's different.
Oh, definitely Types.
But
yeah,
definitely Types. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
I feel like I've seen a project. Isn't just like at version 300 right now?
I don't know. It's definitely over 30.
Like,
I think.
I'm kidding.
No, but I think it's pretty.
I feel
big.
I feel like everything's been stuck at 27.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, 27, 28. That's when they introduced Circus.
And that was right around there. Is like one all maintenance kind of died off.
Yeah.
Yeah, 29. That sounds a year ago.
Yeah.
No, exactly a year ago.
Okay. All right. So sounds like we got a plan. So should we break ground on this?
Yeah, let's do it. So how do we make the most of GSR? Like, what's the? I think they automatically provide documentation, right? They generate documentation.
They generate documentation and badges. they generate a score.
What's the score based on?
Let's see. The score is based on documentation, best practices, package provenance, discoverability, and compatibility.
And how do they determine where the README is? Because we're going to have a file potentially. We're not going to have a README. Because we're just going to have type doc, or
because
for
when we
each
publish,
function?
we'll have a README, and I think we'll have type doc, right? Like we want to have good READMEs, good type docs, and maybe a link to a blog post on how to use this thing, or why we added it.
But is it going to be a single README for the entire project, or is
No,
it
it's going to be per package. From JSR's perspective, it's going to be a single thing for the package.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That
Oh, look at that! That's cute. Did you see that?
yeah.
It's like a visual palindrome.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay, that's cute.
So where is the documentation? Where is the section they talk about scoring here? Flow type. What is flow types?
No inferred return types.
Right.
That's the big one.
Known for so you have explicit return types.
It's kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah.
It is. It's good.
I mean, I understand why, but basically they're saying it's TypeScript's fault, and we don't want to deal with that.
Okay.
That was actually in that one post too. I tend
Yeah.
to agree with that. I think this is having to explicitly return a type on everything. It forces you to it doesn't force you, but I really don't want to do any complex types then.
Only on exported functions. I actually don't have a problem with this. I actually think this is good. And the reason is because Paul thinks it's good. He actually told me why this was a good thing. It's not just about performance too. It's about making sure your module interface is explicit. So you can. Thing is if if explicitly exporting it, it means that everyone can. It's a public API. It's a Semver type API, and so it needs to be stable and it needs to have a very precise type. Because you can inadvertently, just by changing the internals of your program, you can break
Change
the
the
type.
inferred.
You can change
That's
right.
true.
You can change the type. Whereas this, if I'm exporting it, if I'm exporting it, it's part of my public API. Then I have to explicitly say no. I am changing the API. Not oops.
I don't know.
Aw,
I don't know.
shucks.
It was just exported ones. That's not awful then.
It's just
Okay,
exported
I
ones.
Okay.
Yeah, internally, if
'cause,
nobody
sometimes
else is,
those internal ones are sometimes a pain because you're piping functions between each other, and it's like, oh my god, I have to
And it's not even inside. It's just if it's exported from a package. I don't understand why that guy was. I think it's a good practice. Honestly.
Okay, yeah, I don't mind that quite as much then.
Yeah. So you can have as many implicit inferred types inside your package as you want. It's just that your public API is explicit.
Okay.
And are these types aligned with the lint rules?
Yeah.
These requirements?
There is a lint rule, and the reason I know about this whole thing is I was working on a project and Paul turned it on, and I was like, "What the hell, Paul?" And he was like, "This is why it's a good idea."
Is there a GSR equivalent? Is there a GSR combo? Of
You mean
rules,
a Dino LSP?
Dino? Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
So that we can get this feedback. Okay.
Mm-hmm. No
So
destructuring
what do we need to
imports.
do here? So we need a hello world operation, and
Right.
it is going to automatically publish to GSR and run lint.
Yes.
And how are we going to version these things? What's the
I think we're gonna have one set up for the. We're gonna basically have one changelog for the whole thing. So let's. It's gonna be a separate repo, right? Or are we gonna put?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
So let's.
I mean, if we're doing covector, we could, in theory, do a changelog for everyone, and not actually like push that up to the package. So like we could have a root changelog and a per module changelog in theory.
Okay, and then we would push that up. Is that a good thing?
The reason I'm bringing it up is because like I've run into this in any of these that are like big plugin things. Like Backstage is a big one. I have literally it is so painful to like to do any upgrades other than like bump everything to latest, because like looking at a specific package and trying to determine what was updated and what's breaking within that single package is so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're getting if I'm using type buffer and we add another 10 packages after that, when I go to bump this thing, I might not need to do anything at all, but I'm gonna have to look through the changelog for 10 different bumps to determine if this thing has even been touched.
You're talking about. Well,
Does that make sense?
you're just looking. So would we create a changelog entry for each version that's like no changes, no changes, no changes?
I mean, I think we could actually like have them. I would want to say we should figure out something where we wouldn't have to do that.
So
I guess in theory it's effectively the same then, right? It would say no changes for those 10 publishes.
Right, but we would at least know.
Or it would just, yeah, at least I could like look at this and be like, I'm at this version, I'm going to this version, do I need to even look at this module?
Okay, I'm at this version, I'm going to this version, do I need to even look at this module? So
if I'm on 1.1 and I'm upgrading to 1.6, I can look. I want to be able to look at something and know if type buffer has been touched from from 1.1 to 1.6. If it hasn't been touched, then I don't have to even like look at it.
Right.
It's an upgrade that doesn't actually, like the effort to do that upgrade is much lower then, because I can feel confident that my code hasn't changed.
Right. So
because like with the contrib thing, if I'm bumping it, I'm potentially using 3 or 4 of these. I want to understand, like, do I need, because if I'm bumping it to pull in a new contrib package, I'm also a side effect that is also any other modules I'm using that are already existing. I need to check to see if those have changed.
Right. So, I mean, would it be? So if we had a change, I mean, we could also do a changelog for both, and generate the individual changelogs for, I don't know. So if we had a changelog for, let's say, the use task buffer, what would, so like, let's say it changed in 1.1, to use your example, and it doesn't change after. Would it just be like Effection Contrib 1.1 and then the list things for changelog, or for use task buffer? So it would only be, it wouldn't have anything for 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, or would it have like which would it be? Would it say that, would it explicitly say that there were no changes, or would it just show the last version that there were changes?
I mean, I think either would be fine. If it shows 1.1 and then 1.6, I can probably guess that it was touched in between. And or if it has every version listed and it says no changes, like both of those would be fine.
Okay.
Like I could, as long as I could like skim over something and just know if I need to like look at this or not. And I think either, whichever way to implement it, or whichever way is easier to implement it would work fine.
Okay.
Actually, I just realized the time. I gotta go pick up my daughter. So I gotta
Okay.
go outside.
Okay.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah. There is another thing, actually two things that we need to think about. So one is, so for React, for example, because you use React, like React, Effection React thing as an example, would we want to have React? Because React would we want to do it, like, would React be a good package for Contrib? Because we would need to add React as a dependency.
No, I would say you would want to add React as a peer dependency. But this is actually really, this is a great point, is that maybe what you would have to do is you would, in that case, you'd have to like have it pass in this would be super weird, super weird indeed. But what you could do is you could have basically, if you did React, like you could have it pass in everything as a function or as a function parameter that you needed in order to do it, right? So like, imagine you're creating a hook, and that hook needs to use the use effect hook from React. You would make as the API a function that would take use effect as an argument and then would return you the use task hook.
There is something.
That's not great, but I still think it would be valuable. But go. There's something what?
There's something good about that in a way. Like there's something about that because it makes it, like, what does that mean in the context of Effection? Because in Effection we have the ability to inject dependencies through context. And so but if you have if your function is if your function is relying on global import, then you can't really do you can't inject dependencies if they're global, right? It's going to be a single version of React, for example.
Right, but that's okay. You can do as many as you want because it would look like this. So
that's what I mean. Like I think there's something interesting in the context of Effection.
Right.
Like it might actually work well for Effection in particular to do that. It's a little bit. I mean, I think people are gonna think it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, this is a contrib library, right? So like, once we hammer out these patterns and like we have a really solid contrib on how to use React, we'll release an Effection React package.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer for that.
You know, but then what we can do is we can say const use task.
So what would be
something like that
in Contrib then? If we did use React, what would be in Contrib?
What would be in contrib? Yeah, it would be like that.
Yeah. So, but then what would be the type for use effect?
We would have to. It would be structural. Yeah, it would be the type of, like, we could basically, what we could do is we could import. I would say it's fair to import types. So we would just import we'd basically import type use effect.
So type use effect would be a React would be a peer dependency.
No, React wouldn't be a peer dependency. We would just import the type, and then we would export it, and then we would export that function.
Where would the type dependency come from?
it would be, you would say import, like, and so inside contrib React. Here, we'll create I think we want to create a React. So inside React, we'd have and then we would say, like, basically import type.
Oh, but this is GSR, right? So is React on GSR?
Well,
Faceless React.
the thing is what's nice about this is when you're bundling, this gets erased. It's not there at runtime. So we can
okay.
like we can export this type,
Okay.
right? So what we can do is be like export function, and I don't know how you can. This is a value, and since it's a function, I don't know. Like we there's some way that we can basically import this type without importing the value, and so then it would be.
I mean, we can try and then see how it goes. Just stick with this.
And then, right, we'd have to do the type, but then basically now we've got use effect, and so we can return the actual operation, and this is our use effect. But then what this means is that in order to actually use our function, our contrib function, you have to pass in a use effect function which structurally matches this one. But there's no dependency actually on React at all. So, and then I think, yeah.
Let's try it and then we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
Yeah, we won't start with React.
I think this is not the low hanging fruit. I think the low hanging fruit is all the other stuff.
Right. And I don't think that, like I said, maybe we can use task buffer because it's top of mind and it doesn't have any dependencies. So let's just get rid of this. Oops. Okay. So let's just get rid of this whole thing. Okay, we want to get rid of this. Actually, we don't need because we're going to generate it. Get rid of that. Okay, and then so Effection Contrib. So we're going to actually just want to create a Dino thing. What? Is it not? Project initialized. Oh. Oh, whoops. I'm in the wrong, right.
Oh, you need to create a Effection.
Yeah.
Front side Effection.
There I am, okay.
Front side contribute.
Yeah, okay. So we actually don't need this. So what we need is a JSR. And we want to say name is Effection Contrib. And then what did we say? Does it work? See publishing packages. There it is. JSON. Okay. Version. And then exports is going to be, we're going to say, the exports is going to be, what was the name? We're going to call it task buffer. And that is going to map to task buffer / mod. Okay, and then we go to task buffer. Right, so we need to create a function called create task buffer, and then okay. So now I can go over. I think this was in the staticalize.
I'm going to look at. In the meantime, I'm going to look at GSR determines the score of tests. How is it? Where is
Okay.
where is it looking for tests?
Okay. What did I call it?
It doesn't look like tests. Full types, protection provenance. It doesn't look like tests are on the list.
Oh, really? Okay.
Compatibility, discoverability, best practices.
Okay.
And do we need to publish? Like, do we need to do all the other packages first? Like, we need to do the affection and the continuation.
Yeah. No.
No.
Maybe. I don't think so. Oh, because affection, right? Because affection's not on JSR. So right,
Yeah.
it would be like that. So I think this is actually one of the biggest tactical errors they made with JSR. Is it's very difficult to publish because all of your direct dependencies have to be on JSR, which means basically all your transitive dependencies also have to be on JSR. So it's very difficult to get a foothold.
For us, it's not a problem, right? But
right. I mean, even for us is a problem if we have to get continuation on there. So.
But it's pretty straightforward, right?
Right. Yeah. So here, let's go to Dino, and then we want to have imports, affection. Actually, you know what we can do? It's because we published to NPM. We can, boom, and we're good.
Okay.
Although it doesn't.
So we just need a test.
Yeah. Okay, so let's make a test. Well, first of all, let's get our, let me go over to affection itself and get our linting rules.
You know, what would be nice is, so does use worker, is it like managing a use worker manages a binary? What does use worker do?
Use worker manages a node. It's basically not a node, a JavaScript. So if we look at worker, basically what it does is you give it a URL of a script, and it
will run that.
It will run that.
It will.
Right.
So
it will start that module in a completely separate context, but it's connected through messages. So it's not a separate process or a binary, because that concept doesn't really exist in all JavaScript. But it's a separate JavaScript entry point.
what was that thing called that you had for Ruby? It was Ruby Racer.
The Ruby Racer, yeah.
Can we make a Go Racer?
What, like a JavaScript for Go?
Yeah.
What do you mean a Go? It's called Go programs from inside JavaScript?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that exists already.
What would I Google for?
You'd be like embed Go,
Well,
call Go function from JavaScript.
I'll go. Oh yeah, somebody must have made this. Go WebAssembly function from JavaScript. Call Golang from JavaScript. Oh no.
Okay, so then let me just quickly see what we can do here. If we go to task buffer, if we go to, let's see, we go to
I think you can put Go into WebAssembly. V8 Go execute JavaScript from Go. Oh, execute JavaScript from Go. That's not the same thing.
yeah, that's more like the Ruby Racer, but
Called.
The only difference is we have our custom issue out. Thank you. Yeah, that's a smiley face. We see a little more.
okay,
So
let's.
11 homes successfully wrapped up.
Let's just. Okay, that works. So yeah, we could write a test for it now. So if we say task buffer, let's go to our test. We want to import describe from, I think it's standard testing BDD. Yeah, oops. Oh, right, we need to make. So now we can run the test. Okay, that works. But we want to.
Wasm.
What's that?
Wasm is looks like Lisp.
Yeah, it does. A lot of it. That's actually not WASM, but it's like the WASM Experlang. But it's very close. It's very similar to Lisp. It's a slightly higher level language. So why don't we let's just make a BDD mapping here. Effection. And then is expect on JSR?
Oh, I don't think. Let's see.
Oh, no,
Standard
that's
expect.
standard expect. Okay. 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 Work out here. Okay, so we want to import run from Effection. Okay. And so we want to say it queues up tasks. It queues up tasks when the buffer fills up.
No, maybe we could pilot a little test kit. I mean, a little test runner for Dino in Effection in Contrib.
What do you mean?
Like write the because you're writing you're using async to
Right.
test Effection.
Right. Right.
We can replace that with we can write a little Effection test
Right.
runner thing, like test syntax in Contrib, and then use it to test everything.
Right. So things we need to test. We need to test it queues up task and it like pulls new tasks off the queue, and spawns them when space is available. I should say spawns new tasks when space becomes available. And then finally, it allows you to wait until there are no more spawn tasks. Okay. What is, oh, let's make it, shall we make it buffer is 3? Okay. So I want to say for let I equals 0 to I less than or equal to, what should we say, 5? We want to say, oh wait, no, let's do it, let's be more explicit. Let's make the task buffer 2. So then we say like first, buffer dot spawn actually we'll just do this, suspend. Okay, we'll suspend, we'll just do, this will be 1. Now what's interesting here is this is going to be, we'll make the second one okay, now the buffer is full, and now here's the weird part is that the way it works currently is this doesn't return, like this spawn doesn't actually doesn't return until the task is spawned. So how do we guess we have to. Like I want to like the how do we can't spawn this synchronously? Well, let's just see if this works first of all. All right. Huh? That's very interesting. Oh, wait a second. Oh, right. Ha. That's why. You know what's going on here? Effection's too fast. Is like, it's doing this, it's doing this, it's doing this, then it's doing this, it's doing this, just doing this, all in one tick of the event loop. And so, Dino's like, there's nothing left to do, and you don't have any like timeouts or any effects or no set timeouts, nothing. So, I'm still waiting for the promise, but I don't have anything. There's nothing that could take, like. So, but if we do this, let's instead of spending, let's sleep. Let's sleep for 100.
Sleep for 10 will do.
Yeah, sleep for 10 will do. No? Now I'm confused. Promise resolution is still pending, but the event loop is already resolved.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey.
Hey. Although it's almost time to go.
Yeah, I figured that happened towards the end.
Build, run, section. Oh.
Basically, what it means is this. Oh, this run is not. It's not resolving, but we're awaiting it. But it's saying promise resolution is still pending. So what happens? Okay. That's interesting.
Buffer.
Right.
Okay, so you wait for the buffer to finish, then it's okay.
Right. I know what's going on because nobody's awaiting these tasks. So this is another reason why I want to deprecate scope.run. Is like you can do things where because this calls scope.run internally, it's creating a task, which is creating a promise. And that's fine, but then you always need to like await the promise. I'm curious if we say yield sleep 20. That probably fixes it, yeah. There's just there's little unexpected gotchas there. Okay, so we've spawned these two, and now what we want to do is we want to make sure that like this, like if we spawn a third. right? And so what happens here is that this is actually not going to spawn until one of these finishes. So like, I'm trying to think how we figure this out. It's almost like we want to say, so this is heals or spawn. Let's see. So if we say yield spawn and then we say yield buffer dot spawn, I know this is weird. Basically, what happens here, let's say let third. What's going on? So we spawn this, and basically when we want to say third equals this one, we only sleep, basically we sleep for 5. Now, what's happening here is we're sleeping for 5. These guys are still running, and we're expecting that this thing hasn't spawned yet. And so we like basically expect third. Cannot find expect. Is it? Expect third to be undefined. Then we sleep for another 10. And we expect third to be defined because those other two dropped out. Yay. So you can see what happens, it's buffering up. So we want this, expect third to be fine, so right now. The other tasks dropped finished. And so other tasks finish, and so what's for the third task? Okay. I think that's a stopping point, but we can now take this and push it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got enough to. Should we ignore Dino lock? Probably. There's no real point. So let's just go ahead and add it to the ignore file. That's good. Let's format everything. Okay. Then. Huh. Uh-oh. I think I need to, I upgraded all my packages, and I think I need to restart. What was the name of that thing? What were we calling it? Contrib? Yeah.
Yeah, Effection Contrib, yeah.
Uninstall the git commit package. Huh. Okay. Please okay. Okay, much better. Oh wait, let's do with some. Let's do some Gitmoji.
Tomatoes right from the plant.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Shall we? Oops, we're going to create a new repository. Repositories. New repository. Okay, it's public. Good. All right. And there it is. All right.
Nice.
Okay, well, it's a start.
Step forward.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I guess that's it for today.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks, y'all.
Do you want to close the stream?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Oh wait, we need to.
You have to do it on YouTube. Or I guess it will just shut down by itself too. But
Wait, it says you will not be able to reconnect. Your stream will stop and you will no longer be live. Yes.